Well, Tiff, I did name this section of the document Molly's Mentally Ill Corner. So this started circulating around Twitter this week, and people did not realize that it was a joke. This guy, Brad Tromel, I guess his name is, he does these types of, fake infographics or whatever all the time. But people thought it was real, and they have every right to feel that way. Because I don't know if you saw this, I posted it to our IG. Apparently, Taylor Swift fans are wearing diapers to her concert now so that they don't miss a minute of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say that I did not wait in line for 8 hours on a computer so that I could be next to someone in a piss-filled diaper. Like, I don't think anything would make me more mad than to find out that an adult next to me who does not require a diaper was wearing a diaper.
Right.
Like, not to go back to the Kim Kardashian diaper gate that I survived, but it's for the Taylor Swift Fan Union. And, it says the Taylor Swift Fan Union's effort to join the United Musicians and Allied Workers. So the first slide says, fans do the vast majority of promotion and marketing for Taylor Swift without being compensated. Yet, we as fan workers still have no formal bargaining power in the musical direction or brand identity of the celebrity we collectively created. Then it goes, next slide. The Taylor Swift Fan Union offers fan workers the ability to collect bargaining for creative vision of Taylor Swift that better aligns with our shared values. The TSFU also demands the recognition of our labor through compensation and health benefits. Recently, many fan workers were harmed by Taylor's unilateral decision to date an alt-right extremist without union consultation. The TSFU unequivocally stands against hate, and we will work towards a future where this kind of workplace violence can never happen again. And at the bottom of the screen, there's people standing in a row that represent each color of the rainbow.
With their fists raised.
With fists, exactly. The next one is, to maintain accountability to fan values, we propose a seasonal meeting between Swift, her management, and elected TSFU representatives to come to the collective agreement on matters relating to her future musical output, social life, touring schedule, commercial endorsements, and fan availability. So then it goes on. As fan workers who've dedicated countless hours to studying and constructively criticizing Taylor's celebrity, we're uniquely well positioned to offer creative suggestions for her career moving forward. Who better than fan workers to determine what fan workers want and need? And then at the bottom of this this page, it's the lesbian flag, which someone called the homophobic lesbian flag. And I don't really understand what that means, but then there's two women holding hands. This one, as you can imagine, was the most upsetting slide for the Swifties who are determined to make sure that she's heterosexual. So the TSFU also seeks remuneration.
I assume he meant remuneration, but I think it might be a typo.
Okay, for previously uncompensated promotional labor. This includes fan workers' fair share of revenue for album sales, streams, merchandise, and concert tickets, none of which would be possible without the labor of the TSFU. Many fan workers are still processing the trauma of Taylor's associations with the alt-right, despite her previous commitment to BIPOC and LGBTQIA2S plus allyship. The TSFU looks to establish an emergency mental health services for those still suffering, including therapy and hospitalization costs. By joining the United Musicians and Allied Workers, the TSFU looks to become the first formally recognized fan union in history, revolutionizing labor relations between fan workers and the celebrities they've labored to create. Now is our moment to end exploitation and create equitable representation for Swifties everywhere. Fan work is real work. There's like a little graphic at the end. Now, if you were to just see this in the wild, would you believe this is real?
I absolutely would. I mean, It's really well done. But also, like, it's just the right amount of mad. Like, it's just the right amount of, like, the Swifties are having a normal one, like, for it to be believable.
Right. Like, here's the thing. It's almost too straightforward to feel satirical for me.
Uh-huh.
So, as much I do appreciate this, I would have appreciated a little bit more, I don't know, signs that this could possibly be a joke, because I think that all of these things probably have been argued sincerely by fans at some point.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of backlash. I'm like still kind of surprised by how many people are, just because Swifties are so fucking demented. I'm surprised at how many people are holding her accountable for dating Matty Healy.
I know. It goes on and on and on.
I know, and I saw today there was a rumor going around, and I don't know if this is real or not, that Taylor might have broken up with Matty.
Uh-huh. And where was this rumor?
It was someone on TikTok who was like, yes, I've seen the rumors that they broke up, but I just want to say that it's like they were, obviously it's like a white girl brushing her hair and like seeming exasperated or whatever over this. But she was like, I don't think it's really our place. We have to remember that she's a human and she's probably hurting if she did, like, it's just the normal babying that they do of her, like as if it's like a tragic thing to be 33 years old and go through like another breakup, she's like, 2 breakups back to back is going to be really hard on her. And it's just like, yeah, but like we've all done that. We've all like rebounded with like some nightmare person, not in that way, but someone who's probably beneath the caliber of the normal person we would like to date.
Right.
We've all done that, I think. And she's 33. Like that's grown.
Yeah. I mean, look at Siobhan Roy. She ended up marrying Tom Wormscams.
Yeah. By the way, did you know that Sarah Snook is 35?
Is she?
Didn't you think she was maybe a bit older?
Do you know what? I hadn't. Huh. Sorry, the dog is really snoring. If you're hearing noise in the background, it's not my pancreas giving up, it's the dog. Huh. You know what? She does have, when she's a Shiv, she has a slightly older energy. But when I've
Yeah.
seen her like snooking around the place, she definitely has more of a youthful air.
So we were treated. Azealia Banks is back at it. Another one, two bangers in a row. And she went right after Matty Healy this week. Do you want to read maybe these slams from her Instagram stories? I think, oh no, they didn't put them in reverse order, but
Okay. Let me see if I can go back down to the bottom because we've already done the Coochie Mountain. We did that last week.
the first one, no, I don't think we did.
We did.
We did Coochie Mountain last week. I thought last week was someone else.
I thought she came for yeah. Oh no, you're right, Candace Owens, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my god, she's back at it. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like she's fired up. Like whatever medication she is or isn't taking right now is really, it's a gift to the public.
Oh, and speaking of that, did you see a listener made a really fun, cute graphic with one of Azalea's reads on it and DM'd it? If you haven't got it, we should share it to our.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't see it on Instagram.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's like a kind of Renaissance painting with the line about the Adderall and oversexed thing on it. It's really funny.
God bless them.
God bless. Okay, so Azealia Banks forever. Okay. Does Matty Healy know that no one actually thinks the 1975 makes good music and that he's a lame poser with a trash cliche band name that actually means nothing, and he's clearly so pressed that a black girl who knows nothing about him or his music is making more moves and money than him? Does he know that black women are more coveted today's industry because there's big business in female rap? He is so obviously weak in the knees, thin-jawed, and drug-addicted, it's easy to catch his crusty ass lacking. The outrageous, small, white, opinionated male musician thing works for Ariel, pink and Ariel pink only. The 1975 better go somewhere with their post "The Academy is" bullshit. We love The Academy is, but y'all are clearly reaching for a death from above 1979 aesthetic that you're just never gonna get because you're not a star, nor are you good at whatever this crappy ass mid 2000s indie pitchfork darling fantasy you're trying to sell. Ice Spice has miles more originality than you will ever. The 1975 is on nobody's radar, babe. Maybe fat emo teenagers, but no, we are not checking for you, boo.
I mean, yep.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. So that's how it began. Okay. And then she did a post that said Matt Healy is one shed needle away from tetanus.
Which is like, I don't know, because if you're not aware, he was slamming H for a while.
Was he?
He was on that horse.
He was doing horse.
Which is also surprising because like Taylor Swift has such a clean image. Like it's been said for years that her security will actually like check her friends' bags when they come in to make sure that there's no drugs on them.
Oh.
Because she like hates being around coke so much.
She's a narc. Okay.
She is a narc. Yeah. But I mean, also that is fair. It's fair. Like,
yeah,
it is fair if someone's in your house to be like, I really don't want you like talking your ass off, like pitching us business ideas, like doing that thing that you do, especially when you are not using yourself. It's like just the worst energy to be around.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the final slide is this.
It says there's like a star that says retired supermodel girlfriend. I don't know what that's in reference to, but then it goes on. Taylor, this guy is going to give you scabies. He's not on the level of powerful puss that you worked hella hard to build. Ugh, so many much cooler people in music to work with. You should really tap James Mercer from the Shins. James Mercer is honestly one of the best lyricists ever. Yes, Taylor Swift with Black Wave Australia by the Shins vibes is the tea, sis. Ugh, this dude is a full incel. You cannot be letting him climb the rich white coochie mountain, sis.
I mean, come on.
When she shows up, she shows up.
She certainly does. I mean, this was a really, I don't know, it was a thrilling surprise. I'm always shocked by her soft spot for Taylor Swift.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes she'll come out with like endorsement or support of someone that you would never expect. And I think like Cara Delevingne is that person as well. And then Taylor Swift, and you're just like, oh, interesting. I mean,
I think Taylor is respected by, well, my fave, Keke Palmer, also has been talking about her a lot too. I think Taylor is respected more within the industry than, but people just don't advertise it because there is also a chronic lameness to her that maybe you don't want to be associated or admit that you like.
Right, but they admire her acumen, the fact that she's kind of taking ownership of her own catalog. They've all been kind of fucked over by some extent, so it makes a lot of sense. I just sent you a graphic, and I want to credit the person who made it. There was a person called Omar who
I love that guy. Yeah.
has an Instagram called Heart on Screen. Very funny and cute. I really enjoy it.
So it says you absolutely need a 3-week Adderall break because you given that weird stage of hypersexual amphetamine-induced psychosis. And yes, I believe is this Adam and Eve?
I think it might be.
Yeah, because the snake, right?
Yeah. And they've got little leaves on their bottoms.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
I can't wait to share that with everyone. Thank you for sending that in. And guys, we'll always enjoy your fan art. If you blast us with some fan art, we'll be thrilled about that.
We're artistic scholars here.
Now, I want to do this clip first, but Taylor Swift has been getting a lot of shit because a lot of the states she has toured in are some of the most unfriendly towards women's rights and also actively working on like bills and legislation or whatever that affect the trans community in particular quite a bit. And I want to she hasn't really done anything for that, which I have feelings about. We can get into them a little bit more, but yeah, she finally said something on, I think it was the first at her Chicago show. So I'll play this clip of her finally saying something that possibly aligns with the ideals that she made a whole fucking documentary about having. So this is the clip of her saying something to Chicago.
And allies who support them in that and celebrate them in that. It's like the most beautiful experience for me to look out into the crowds on this tour. I'm looking out tonight, I'm seeing so many incredible, just individuals who are living authentically and beautifully, and this is a safe space for you. This is a celebratory space for you.
I'm feeling this is my first Taylor Swift moment.
And one of the things that makes me feel so prideful is getting to be with you and watching you interact with each other, being so loving and so thoughtful and so caring. And so being with you during Pride Month, getting to sing the words to "You Need to Calm Down," where there are lyrics like, "Can you just not step on his gown?" or "Shade never made anybody less gay," and you guys are screaming those lyrics. In such solidarity, in such support of one another, in such encouraging, beautiful acceptance and peace and safety. And I wish that every place was safe and beautiful for people in the LGBTQ community. I really wish that. Because, we can't talk about Pride Month without talking about pain. There, right now, and recently, and in the recent years, there have been so many harmful pieces of legislation that have put people in the LGBTQ and queer community at risk. It's painful for everyone, every ally, every loved one, every person in these communities, and that's why I'm always posting, this is when the midterms are. This is when these important key primaries are. Because we can support as much as we want during Pride Month, but if we're not doing our research on these elected officials, are they advocates? Are they allies? Are they protectors of equality? Do I want to vote for them? I love you guys so much, and happy Pride Month.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love your thoughts.
My thoughts and feelings about this is always a kind of complex when it comes to Taylor
Sure.
because of the queer baiting.
Oh yeah, she's like literally an awful person if she's not closeted.
Yeah. And I know that I would imagine that of course she would be a gay icon to some extent, but maybe not as much as some of the other women.
She's no Charlie XCX. Like,
Right.
safe
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to get murdered by the Swifties. So
I don't think you will. I mean, I think that people know that, like, well, they know that I'm a huge fan, but also, like, I engaged with her work critically. Like, I think that that's the best way to consume anything, especially when we see Taylor, like, rapidly approaching billionaire status and dating this, like, alt-right character. Like, I think that it's important to discuss her critically.
Mhm.
Because, for every single, rare edition vinyl that she puts out of the same exact album, it's her silence is notable. I think that it's important to note that this was done at her Chicago show, which is a very liberal city to begin with, and that
Mhm.
she stayed quiet in so many cities that actually could probably really use this speech. It also feels very I don't know, white girl to be like, I'll just do it on Pride. I'll just do it when Pride Month starts, because it's like, girl, like, come on. Like, they're like, when we're talking about people who are living this every day, like, I'm sure they don't really give a shit about Pride. You know what I mean? In terms of the grand scheme of their lives and things being you know, like their identity is being on the line, you know, their safety. Like, I don't know. But then on the other hand, I am seeing some criticism of her not bringing out drag queens in some of the states where that's being illegal. And I have complicated thoughts on that because, yes, like she does have male dancers dressed as like her during different eras and stuff like that. I think it's really important to remember that if Taylor was to bring up local drag queens from the community and then just like leave town, like she can't protect them from having been on that stage in front of 70,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is like, that's where it also kind of, I can see, like, sometimes I see why she's cautious, you know, and it's not just because she might alienate her Republican fans. It's also like, I think she's pretty thoughtful about what that would mean. And she's someone who's very like safety oriented because
Mhm.
her safety has been threatened so many times. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just a shame that like she hasn't been able to say more. Like Haley from Paramore like made a very clear statement of like, if you vote for Ron DeSantis, you're fucking dead to me,
Mhm.
which is just, you know, I mean, if only we could get her to say something like that, you know, that would be fantastic. But she's so influential, and it's just disappointing, you know, that, and like, of course, the, like, you know, homophobic Swifties just like weaponize the shit out of her silence, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's a really good point you make about being able to protect anybody. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah, like in front of 70,000 people, like, sure, yes, drag can be quite disguising. Like the first time you see Trixie Mattel not without their makeup on, you're like, oh, I would literally would never imagine that was you on the street ever. But yeah, I just think, you know, especially like these sort of like fan demands to have her bring these people out in drag and then just sort of skip town is, yeah, I mean, that's a huge stage to put people on.
Right.
And
And
I,
I
yeah,
yeah. I think it would just have as well there's always the danger that it would be like I don't know, weaponized in the other way, which would be like, oh, it's like she'll do these things for, you know, for attention and coverage, but like when it comes down to it, like what's she actually doing? Like bringing these people up on stage, like there's no like yeah, there's no neat way out of it, I guess.
not really. Yeah, not really. I don't know. It's a complicated conversation, but at the same time it's also so uncomplicated, and
Mhm.
that's like what I think makes me kind of furious about it is that, you know, it's quite nervy to come out with a whole documentary about how you are going to say that you don't like Donald Trump and that people shouldn't vote for this one woman in Tennessee, which is right. And, you know, like they shouldn't, but she still won. So this wasn't as impactful as perhaps she hoped. But yeah, I just it's, I don't know. Maybe if she hadn't come out with that documentary and simply made a statement, that would have been more, that would have maybe taken the heat off of her a little less to constantly be advocating. But it's also like
Uh-huh.
literally not hard to advocate. Also, what did you think about her saying, like, when I look out in the crowd, I see so many people authentically being themselves? I'm like, are you scanning the crowd for gays?
Maybe she is. Takes one to know one.
Right, exactly.
I think the problem with oh god, the problem with opening the door is that once the door is open, like shit's gonna come through it. So she made the doc, she opened the door, she's been like getting more, I mean, still cautious, but more vocal about her support for certain causes. And so now she kind of has to wear it. And I think when it comes down to human rights, then as you said that it's complex but also it's incredibly simple. Like it's really fucking simple. Like people this is kind of a crisis unlike one that I've ever seen in like my lifetime.
Absolutely.
This is a
It's a
rewinding of
huge
the clock.
crisis
It's
over
fucked.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Yeah, I mean, like, I think I've said this before, but like Deuce was right that this is going to be a huge part of this next election
Mm-hmm.
because there's just so much misinformation. Now, I don't agree with her about why, but yeah, that's stuck with me a lot. And it's, yeah. But at the same time, when someone says she's advocating for you, but then is also in her personal life spending time with someone who, seemingly stands for a lot of things that are kind of like, bullshit. Like he did make out with a male security guard the other night, but I don't know if that's like really gonna take the heat off of everything else he's done. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, in some ways, it's kind of like, fuck you, that you're living a very different life than you're up there preaching.
Right.
But there is a Vulture article that I included in the show notes that if you guys want to check this out, you can go read it. But basically, it's implying that the Reputation era could be approaching again.
Oh.
Like, things are brewing. She's like very exposed right now. She is making bad decisions that are personally very hurtful to her fans.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like with the Reputation era, she just really just got nailed by Kanye and had a bunch of people who probably never even liked her turn their back on her,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't
Something's
know.
brewing.